Kaikoura, well, it's going to be a very active end to April. We've already got some heavy rainfall pushing back in towards parts of Northland with some thunderstorms in the mix as well. Severe thunderstorm watch and also a heavy rain watch up through Northland as we head through Tuesday. But it's not the only place that's going to find severe weather over the next few days. You can see that rainfall feeding further southwards as we head through in towards the night time. Some heavier bursts in amongst that as well through the Bay of Plenty and up towards the top of the rights of Tairāwhitii. As we head through the night, we'll find that rain sinking further southwards across the North Island. Perhaps some clearer skies just about holding on through the Carpety coast, but even here a fair covering of cloud. And for the South Island, well, it's not much better. That rain pushing through in towards Canterbury. And we're going to find that rain is slow to clear over the next few days. Some real heavy rainfall around North Canterbury and up in towards Kaikoura. Well worth keeping a close eye on the forecast for you. As we head through the night time, we'll find it's still relatively mild. These temperatures will be changing though. Enjoy them while they're here. The end of the week is much colder. Through the daytime on Wednesday, that rain sinks further south. Where it meets the cold air, we'll find it turns to snow over the higher ground of Canterbury. But this low pressure system sticks with us and it keeps that rain feeding through in towards Canterbury, across Wellington, Wairarapa and even in towards places like Wanganui and southern Taranaki. More showery story up north, but even here I think it will stay pretty unsettled through the daytime. After a wet start, things will improve for Hawke's Bay and Tairāwhitii, but will keep hold of plenty of cloud. Stronger winds, watch out for those down through that western side of the South Island, running down from the mountains through the river valleys. A strong wind watch out for you, and also the winds really ramping up through the Marlborough Strait, through the Marlborough Sounds, and up in towards Wellington and Wairarapa by the end of the day on Wednesday. Well worth watching the forecast there. Heavy rain warnings in place for North Canterbury, Kaikoura, Banks Peninsula, also those northern parts of Tairāwhitii. Watches as well up through Northland for that rainfall on Tuesday. But these warnings lasting through even to Friday through parts of Canterbury. Long lasting weather through there and some heavy snowfall watches for those southern parts of Canterbury above about 800 metres. So those areas up in the higher ground. But I think if you're planning those crossings through places like Arthur's Pass and Porter's Pass, some snowfall expected for you as we head through the night time Wednesday into Thursday. Strong wind watches as well from the middle part of the day on Wednesday down that western coast of the South Island, but we're also going to find the winds that are ramping up through Marlborough Sounds and Wellington, even Wairarapa, find those winds really picking up through the daytime Wednesday into Thursday. These ones here are very likely to be upgraded to warnings as we head through to Thursday, so keep an eye on those forecasts. We start off though with that wet weather pushing through in towards the likes of Tairāwhitii and Gisborne, Hawke's Bay as well. Some cloudy wet start today. More showery weather up north, but I think we are going to find one or two sharper ones there. Perhaps a bit of brightness through the afternoon through parts of the Auckland region, but generally the weather will be focused a bit further south. The rain lasting through Wellington and Wairarapa, a pretty unsettled looking a few days for those central areas of the country, and that rain being pushed up on towards southern Taranaki, Wanganui as well. A bit of a clearance later on in the day out towards Tairāwhitii, Gisborne, but I think it is going to be a wet start for you, so you have got that heavy rain watch to watch out for first thing. And I think we are going to find it's a pretty unsettled story. Temperatures, you can see still up to around about 22 in Auckland. It's going to be a real change as we head through the next few days. 16 for Wellington, but after Wednesday, I think we are going to find our temperatures a fair bit colder. Down on the South Island, well, some really strong winds ramping up down that western coast. You can imagine the winds coming in from this direction, sliding down that hill in the downslope and through the valleys through there. But they'll also be pushing that cloud and wet weather on towards the eastern side of the country, way up from, say, Canterbury, particularly those northern parts of Canterbury, north of Amberley, up towards Kaikoura, Marlborough, Nelson, seeing some heavy bursts of rainfall through there. And we'll also find these winds increasing, especially around that Kaikoura coast and up towards the Marlborough Sounds. But heavy rain warnings, particularly for these areas in North Canterbury, lasting through Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and even through into Friday as well. A long, prolonged period of wet weather. Rainfall totals 150, 200 millimetres of rainfall around those northern Canterbury regions. Where the wet weather meets that cold air, it will turn to snow over the Canterbury High Country. So I think we are going to find the return of some wintry weather through those inland parts. Worth bearing in mind for those crossings across the Alps there. But I think if you're looking for some dry weather, Fiordland, that's the place to be. Perhaps the best place to be in the country as we head through the daytime on Wednesday. In terms of our temperatures, where those southerly winds start to push back up the country, that's when we start to find things are turning colder. But highs still around about 17 degrees Celsius there in Blenheim, but I think generally a cloudier, wet looking day. On into Thursday, well, you can see this low pressure system, a swirl of winds is still with us, pushing that rain up and towards the Canterbury coast, up in towards Wellington, Wairarapa, some watches around for you as well. And those strong winds, even gale force or severe gale force in the most exposed areas around that southern part of the Northland. Even by Wellington standards, it's going to be a windy day. And those winds will also help drive some pretty rough coastal conditions around the region as well. So well worth watching out for that, especially around high tides. Even through in towards Friday, we'll slowly start to find a bit of an improvement across here. That rain pushing further northwards up in towards parts of Hawke's Bay. You see some dry weather up there through the Coromandel and up in towards the Bay of Plenty. But even here, I think we'll find the skies turning cloudier as we head through the daytime on Friday. But those winds still pretty strong first thing on Friday before they start to ease off by the end of the day. All of us, though, will find that cold air creeping up from the south. So keep that in mind. Our daytimes are going to be feeling pretty cold, especially where they're combined with those stronger winds as well. So places like Wellington, Christchurch, Wairarapa, some windy, wet, cold weather in store for you. And as ever, you can find all the latest information, forecasts and those warnings over at metservice.com.